Hello, and welcome to the Entertaining Pudding YouTube channel. In today's episode, we'll be taking a look at the ROM, the Marvel Years Omnibus Volume 1. This hefty tome here compiles issues 1 through 29 of the ROM Space Knight comic book series, as well as one crossover issue, Power Man and Iron Fist number 73. The character of ROM began as an electronic toy released in 1979 by Parker Brothers of all companies. They are well known for their board games. The electronic features of the toy are what drew the kids in. You could hook up any of his three accessories, the analyzer, the translator, or the neutralizer. That's pretty cool. The only drawback to the toy was that ROM himself had no backstory. No mission, no origin, no villains. Imaginative play is okay, but every hero needs a villain. Here's where Marvel Comics stepped in. In the late 70s, Marvel bought licenses to several IPs, including Star Wars, Battlestar Galactica, Godzilla, and the toy lines Shogun Warriors, Micronauts, and of course, ROM Space Knight. The team given the Herculean task of creating an entire world for ROM to exist in fell upon writer Bill Mantlo and artist Sal Buscema. Bill Mantlo was known around the Marvel bullpen as the fill-in king due to the quickness of his writing and his ability to do work on short notice. He would continue to do these tasks while penning all 75 issues of ROM and most of the 59 issues of Micronauts. Very fast indeed. Along the way, he also co-created characters such as Rocket Raccoon of Guardians of the Galaxy fame and the troubled crime-fighting duo Cloak and Dagger. You have to give Mantlo a huge amount of credit for turning ROM into a respected and popular cult classic. IDW, the comics company, even revived the character in 2015 for a 14-issue stint. Not bad for a toy that was probably forgotten by the next Christmas in 1980. Bill Mantlo is still around. Sadly, he suffered severe brain damage in a hit-and-run accident in 1992 and has required institutionalized care ever since. He's 74. I'm afraid there's more sad news. ROM artist Sal Buscema just passed away on January 26, 2026. He was 94. What to say about Sal Buscema? He and his brother John are both legends in the comic book community. Sal's credits are way too numerous to list here, but a couple of the standouts to me are his 8-year run on the Spectacular Spider-Man and a 10-year run on the Incredible Hulk. Those are respectable runs for any artist or writer from any company. Sal penciled ROM issues 1 through 58. He established a style and quality that set the standard for ROM, and it was a huge part of his popularity throughout the years. He would be a tough act to follow. The next artist that Marvel assigned to the ROM book was none other than Steve Ditko. Yes, that's Steve Ditko, co-creator of Spider-Man, Doctor Strange, and all the cast and characters that come along with those early stories. Characters in Spider-Man such as J. Jonah Jameson, the Green Goblin, characters in Doctor Strange like his right-hand man Wong, and his villains Dormammu and Baron Mordo. All these were co-created by Ditko. He finished up the ROM series by penciling issues number 59 through 75. All right, let's take a look at the outside of the book itself. As you can see on the cover here, beautiful, ROM. It's the cover of ROM number 1. It's a Frank Miller cover, artist Frank Miller. You turn it to the side, we've got Marvel Omnibus ROM. Down at the bottom, we've got a little picture of ROM flying at us. Mantlo Buscema, Volume 1. I got a little wrinkle on the dust jacket already, as you can see. On the back here, we've got a little write-up on top here. Let's see what we got. Oops, sorry about my fingers. One of Marvel's most unlikely successes stories through the 1980s. Cleaving through the sky like a fiery sword of justice. After more than 4 decades, ROM's thrilling adventures in Marvel Universe are collected at last. He has spent 200 years trapped in armor protecting his homeworld of Galador from the dreaded dire wraiths. Now the cyborg warrior pursues his dreaded enemy to a new battlefront in their cosmic war, Earth. Only ROM can detect the alien horrors posing as humans and banish them to limbo. But will he be greeted as a hero or feared as an invader? We shall see. The rest of the back here's got a cool picture of ROM over here. It's got a picture of all the covers of all the issues that are in here. There's going to be one sticking out that one of these things is not like the other. There it is, Power Man and Iron Fist. Hasbro, Marvel. Yeah, Hasbro owns the rights to ROM, which means it's part of the so-called, I guess, Hasbro-verse, which is Transformers, G.I. Joe, and I guess ROM's in there too. So that does it for the outside of the book. Well, no. Let's take a look without the dust jacket. How about that? I'm going to take that off because there's some different stuff down below. Oh, exciting video. Hi, we're watching me unwrap a book. But hey, it's the way things are. All right. We got the front is the same. Same Frank Miller side is the same, but the back is where the action is. There we go. Check that out. Beautiful pin up there of Sal Buscema's version of ROM. You gotta love it. I might leave the dust jacket off and just so I can take a look at that picture. I think it was a pin up for one issue. We'll take a look. I got the tabs up here for later. We'll get to that. I think actually we'll get to that next. Let's take a look on the inside here and see what we've got. We're ready to take a look inside this edition. We'll take a look at the first inside of the dust jacket. Over here's got a history of ROM. I'm not going to read the whole thing. You can if you get this. I'll do a little history of him before we get through with this. That's really nice on the dust jacket. We'll go to the back side of the dust here. Flip. Here is stuff about Bill Mantlo and Sal Buscema. Little biographies about them. I covered that already. I didn't know these were here when I did that, or I might have used some of that info, but I think I got everything correct. We'll start with the inside. Of course, you got black page. ROM, beautiful picture with the Sal Buscema art there. ROM coming at us with his neutralizer. Next, more credits. Got the Hasbro logo over here. It looks like there's ROM with, I think that's, what's his name? Terminator and Starshine, two other Space Knights, which you'll get to know if you read the book. It's also got some credits for the people that did Power Man and Iron Fist number 73. Table of contents. A nice picture there. I think that's a hybrid. That's like another full pinup in one of the issues. Sal Buscema did that a lot. Full pinup art. And next comes it's about a 4 or 5 page essay by Chris Ryall about the production history and the in-universe history of ROM, including some stuff about the IDW revival and lots of all kinds of good information in there. And really, if you're a fan of ROM, you can tell this guy's a huge fan of ROM. And the essay shows that. All right, that's it for that. Let's get into what's next. And you know what's next. Starting the covers. All right, we'll be right back with that. The first 29 issues of ROM Space Knight establish one of Marvel's most emotionally layered long-form sagas, a hidden alien war unfolding beneath the surface of small-town America. Across these early chapters, the series evolves from a science fiction mystery into a full cosmic tragedy, centering on sacrifice, paranoia, and the burden of being a hero that no one believes. The story begins with ROM's arrival in the quiet town of Clairton, West Virginia. A former poet from the peaceful planet Galador, ROM volunteered to become a cybernetic space knight to combat the dire wraiths, shape-shifting invaders who conquered his world through infiltration. Transformed permanently into living armor, ROM tracks the wraiths to Earth, where they have embedded themselves within human society. His mission is singular, to expose and banish them to limbo. The tragedy emerges immediately. Using his analyzer, ROM reveals wraiths in their true monstrous forms. With his neutralizer, he banishes them. But once destroyed, they revert to human appearance. To witnesses, ROM appears to be murdering ordinary people. The local authorities, the military, and much of the public see him as a threat rather than a savior. Only Brandy Clark, a woman from Clairton, comes to believe in him. Through her loyalty, the book grounds its cosmic conflict in human emotion. Around the midpoint of this story arc, the tone darkens considerably. The dire wraiths begin experimenting with dark magic, creating a schism between technology-oriented wraiths and those embracing sorcery. This shift introduces horror elements, demonic transformations, occult rituals, and grotesque mutations, expanding the conflict beyond science fiction into supernatural terror. The revelation that the Wraith's corruption runs even deeper than previously imagined escalates the stakes for Earth. Meanwhile, Rom's internal struggle grows more poignant. He longs for his lost humanity and for a future with Brandy, yet he remains bound to his vow. His sacrifice is not temporary. He believes his transformation is permanent. The weight of endless war presses heavily upon him, especially as he learns more about the fate of the other Space Knights and the devastation still haunting Galador. By issue 29, the series has firmly established its core dynamic. Rom as the unseen guardian of Earth, waging a war no one understands against an enemy hidden in plain sight. The dire wraiths have proven adaptive and insidious. The human cost has mounted, and the conflict has grown more mystical and apocalyptic in tone. What began as a straightforward alien hunter premise has transformed into a layered epic about trust, identity, and endurance. As the issues progress, the scale of the threat widens. The dire wraiths are not merely scattered infiltrators. They are organized, patient, and deeply entrenched. Some operate as industrialists and political leaders. Others manipulate religious cults. The paranoia intensifies as it becomes clear that anyone could be a wraith. Friends, neighbors, authority figures, all are suspect. Rom's war is lonely and relentless. The series also integrates Rom into the broader Marvel universe. He clashes with heroes who misunderstand his actions, including the X-Men and the Fantastic Four, reinforcing the theme that even other superheroes cannot see the hidden war. These crossovers heighten the tension. Rom fights not only alien infiltrators, but also mistrust and isolation. In these first 29 issues, Rom Space Knight defines itself as more than a licensed property. It becomes a meditation on isolation, on what it means to be right, alone, and willing to be hated in order to protect a world that may never thank you. Well, that'll do it for a look at the covers and a small synopsis of the first 29 issues of ROM Space Knight. Something I failed to mention earlier is after the first few issues, they have all the letters pages in for every issue, and I love the letters pages. I used to, when I collected comic books, when I get them, sometimes the first thing I do would check the letters page to see what people thought of the last issue. So it's cool that they included all those. After that, we've got some artwork of the advertisements. This is one of the ads that was in the comic books for ROM. This one also was an ad for the comic book itself, this one for the toy. We've got nice pinup Sal Buscema art, pinup of him. We've got the pencil version of the first splash page of issue 1. A couple more little ad things that went into the comic books. Pencil version of a pinup. Some uncolored versions. Just shows cover. Shows how they line it up and how they print. Just really neat stuff behind the scenes of how comic books are made. And it ends with beautiful pinup of ROM. That does it for the inside of ROM. In fact, I think that does it for everything. I enjoyed doing this. This was a lot of fun. This book is awesome. I can't say enough about it. The binding's perfect. The cover's perfect. Everything, the pages, the information involved. It's just a great volume. There's 2 more of these, and hopefully I can afford them and get them because I'd love to have the entire 75-issue run. So stay tuned. I might be doing those. But other than that, thanks for joining me, and I will see you in the next one.